Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new tutorial. Did you know that significant portion of job losses in the pharmaceutical industry are due to compliance and legal matters? From my personal experience spanning over 25 years in the pharmaceutical industry, I have observed that compliance and legal matters are the most common reasons why people lose their jobs in this field. The cost of maintaining compliance in the pharmaceutical industry is high. And the big pharmaceutical organization, they have zero tolerance to compliance. And so they make tough decisions, which may significantly cause or lead to workforce reductions. So now the question is, if you have a well-established career and a nice job in one of the major pharmaceutical organizations, how can you protect what you have achieved? How can you maintain your career in pharma without any legal or compliance issues? That's the question. And the short answer to this question is maintain 100% compliance in everything you do. However, in this video, I will dig deeper into the 4 ethical principles of healthcare. The 4 ethical principles in healthcare should be the ultimate guide for anyone working in healthcare, including those working in the pharmaceutical industry. Also, the fundamentals of these 4 ethical principles in healthcare will reflect on the purpose why, as medical professionals, we exist in the pharmaceutical industry. So let's get started. The 4 ethical principles are not specific for the pharmaceutical industry, but in fact, they are for anyone who is working in healthcare, whether they are healthcare providers or industry professionals. Surprisingly, I didn't learn these 4 ethical principles in the medical school. I learned them as part of my postgraduate studies abroad. It's quite strange that some traditional medical curriculums in the medical schools can miss something important like the 4 ethical principles in healthcare. Of course, the essence of these 4 ethical principles is embedded in the medical oath that we take when we are graduated as medical physicians or pharmacists. However, I think more detailed university classes are needed in order to ensure that all medical graduates understand very well the 4 ethical principles of healthcare and apply them in their future career. So let's see what these 4 ethical principles are. First, autonomy. Second, beneficence. Third, non-maleficence. And finally, number 4 ethical principle is justice. Autonomy just means that the patient has to be informed. Beneficence, on the other hand, means that we provide the maximum benefit possible or available for the patients. Non-maleficence means no harm. Whatever we do with the patients, we should aim to absolutely no harm at all. And finally, justice, which means healthcare is for everyone. Let's now dive into their details, and then we will see how these 4 principles can be applied in our work in the pharmaceutical industry, and what each of these principles represents when it comes to our work with healthcare professionals or patients or patient advocacy groups. Autonomy refers to the right of the individual or the patient to make informed decisions about their own healthcare and it emphasizes respect for individuals' capacity to make their own choices. In other words, patients have to be informed. This is the first component, and we have multiple applications for this in healthcare, including having an informed consent from a patient who will undergo certain procedure. But it doesn't need to be only, or it doesn't necessarily need to be a written documentation. It can be just verbal communication. The most important and the essence is that the patient is informed. This also reflects on the time the healthcare provider needs to spend with each patient in order to ensure that we have a patient who is well informed. The second component of autonomy is respecting the patient decision. That means even if the healthcare provider disagrees with the patient wish or the patient's decision, we have to prefer the patient wish or the patient decision. And finally, the last component of autonomy is confidentiality. And confidentiality is an integral part of autonomy where the healthcare providers or people dealing with healthcare data or patient information should maintain 100% confidentiality. This has a very important reflection when it comes to patient data handled by pharmaceutical industry professionals. The second ethical principle is beneficence. And beneficence involves acting to the best interest of the patient. It's the duty of the healthcare professionals to promote well-being of the patient and to ensure that all actions are taken to benefit them. And also this applies to the professionals in the pharmaceutical industry. So all actions that we take should be in the direction or aligned with the benefits of the patients. And we should work in order to maximize the benefits of the patients, the well-being and health, ultimately. There are different components of beneficence, including promoting health in general. And here the healthcare provider should strive to improve the patient and well-being of patients through preventive measures, preventive treatments if available, and also patient education. The second component is balancing the risks and the benefits before a clinical decision. The patient has to be informed about this risk-benefit balance and should be part of the decision. Finally, the compassionate care. And here, providing empathetic and compassionate care by the healthcare providers or those working in healthcare is a crucial part of beneficence, ensuring that patients feel valued and supported. The third ethical principle is non-maleficence. Non-maleficence is a term that means do no harm. And as said in the introduction, whatever we do or will do with the patient, we should aim to provide absolutely no harm at all. Healthcare providers must avoid causing any harm to patients and take serious steps to minimize any potential harm. The key aspects of non-maleficence is one, avoiding harmful treatments. So physicians should be very well informed about the side effects and safety profiles of any medication they prescribe, and they definitely need to select those medications that cause the least harm to their patients, identifying and mitigating potential risks associated with any treatment. Again, here also the patient should be informed about what he might expect. So this is non-maleficence. Absolutely no harm at all. The fourth ethical principle is justice. And as we simplified in the beginning, we said healthcare is for everyone, but the details includes much more than this. First, fair allocation of resources. Healthcare resources such as organ transplants, or access to innovative medication should be distributed based on the need of the patient and not factors like health, economic status, or personal connections. Of course, this is not the reality, and we know that people with high socioeconomic status have better access to innovative medications and advanced treatments compared to others. But the ethical principles is to ensure that the allocation of resources is ensuring maintenance of healthcare, the best healthcare possible to everyone. This is not easy, and that's why there are a lot of initiatives by governments and by the pharmaceutical industry to ensure that patients, regardless where they are, they get the right and the best healthcare possible. Also, another important component when we talk about justice is discrimination. Healthcare doesn't know any discrimination. So these are the 4 ethical principles. Understanding and applying them in healthcare is essential for medical professionals. These principles will help to ensure that patients' care is conducted in an ethical manner, fair and compassionate manner, by respecting autonomy, by applying the principles of beneficence, and by avoiding harm and ensuring justice, healthcare will improve. So understanding and applying these 4 simple ethical principles can enable us as medical professionals and as professionals in the pharmaceutical industry and in clinical practice to navigate the complex dilemmas of ethics and compliance while providing a high-quality care for patients. Let's now shift the gears and reflect on the application of these 4 ethical principles when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry. And please remember this. If we apply these 4 ethical principles in everything we do, and if we recall these 4 ethical principles before we make any decision, we will definitely maintain a healthy career, a long-term career in the pharmaceutical industry without any compliance or legal matters. And this is applicable not only for medical and regulatory affairs, but also for anyone who is working in the pharmaceutical industry. This is applicable for any function in the pharmaceutical industry, not necessarily medical affairs. So anyone working in the pharmaceutical industry should follow these 4 ethical principles. So when it comes to autonomy, in the pharmaceutical industry, maybe we don't communicate that much with patients. On the other hand, our main communication is with key opinion leader engagements. And if we know that autonomy means that the patient has to be informed, then we have to be very transparent with our physicians, with our key opinion leaders, and we should provide only the evidence-based facts about the medications. We should provide and be reasonable in providing and stating facts about science. So in this context, we should avoid any misleading information, and we should ensure that our key opinion leaders are very well informed at any given time and very well updated with the latest advancements in their field. So this is autonomy for us to ensure that our healthcare professionals, or if we are dealing with patient advocacy groups or we are conducting patient awareness programs, to be balanced, to be reasonable, and to be very transparent, and to communicate evidence-based facts, not our own judgment, not our own opinion, not what we thought or what we think. We have to communicate facts based on available scientific evidence, and we have to communicate them in a reasonable way, not in an exaggerated way or in a way that can persuade the key opinion leader to provide a bigger or more pressure on him to change his mind or to change his clinical practice. So autonomy is there everywhere in our work, whether we are dealing with healthcare professionals or with even internal colleagues. We have to be very transparent, communicating the facts in a simple and reasonable manner. When it comes to beneficence, here, all our approaches in the industry, all our initiatives, all our projects should be aligned with this ethical principle, should target the patient's benefit. And this is clear in the concept that most of the big pharmaceutical organizations are following, which is patient-centrism. Patient-centrism is another terminology for ensuring the best and the maximum benefits of the patient. Whenever we influence healthcare by initiatives or projects that can help to improve this healthcare. Again, measure this when you do any project and ask about the value. Is the value of this project will help to diagnose underdiagnosed patients, for example? Will it help to screen more patients with cancer? Will it provide benefits to this patient population? And that's how we ensure that our projects and initiatives are based on scientific manner, scientific merits, as well as patient centrism. Non-maleficence, again, all what we do in the pharmaceutical industry should be aligned with the concept of causing absolutely no harm to the patient. So if there are adverse events expected, we have to be very clear and transparent with the healthcare provider. In everything you do, you have to be very transparent and scientifically balanced, without exaggerating the facts or without focusing on the good aspects and leaving the negative aspects. So if a product is promising very high efficacy, while there are serious adverse events encountered in clinical trials, that's the message exactly that you have to communicate to your medical community, to your healthcare providers, and also to regulatory authorities. Don't show only the good side of the medication while hiding the side. This is unethical. You have to be very transparent and say all the facts and be very transparent to ensure that you are not causing any harm and you are following this important ethical principle. The fourth ethical principle is justice. And if we look to all the landscape of the pharmaceutical industry, we will count hundreds of programs and initiatives that helps to ensure better access to innovative treatments and advanced therapies for patients, no matter where they are or what color they have or what gender they belong to. So there are many initiatives that helps the healthcare systems across the world to have better access. We are not yet there. We cannot say that we have achieved what the industry aims to achieve. However, it's a good start, and I think that in the coming few years, this area will be more productive in terms of giving more access to innovative medications to patients. And we can see some trends in different areas of the world. The point is that we have to follow these four ethical principles in everything we do. And if we do, we will be safe and our jobs will be safe. Imagine if you have an initiative and you think of autonomy, even for 1 second while making the decision, or you think of beneficence and non-maleficence, or justice. These four ethical principles will ensure that you take the right decisions based on the scientific merit, based on the unmet patient needs, based on the budget allocation to ensure that you are providing the benefit for everyone, regardless where they are, and of course, ensuring top quality healthcare services. I know that this might sound like so theoretical. However, these are ethical principles that we put them on a board or we put them in front of our eyes every day. We try our best to achieve them and to follow them. If we can do 50%, that's better than not doing anything. And if we do 70%, that's even better and better. So this should be an integral part of our work, as I mentioned, not only while working externally, but also when we work internally, in order to ensure the ultimate value of what we do as professionals in the pharmaceutical industry. So that's it for today. I hope that you benefited from this tutorial. So we discussed the 4 ethical principles. We digged deeper into the meaning of each one of these ethical principles. And finally, we discussed how we as medical affairs can apply these 4 ethical principles in our day-to-day work. The next steps is that you make yourself more familiar. There are additional readings if you want. But the most important, in order to have an enjoyable, successful career in the pharmaceutical industry, don't let go these 4 ethical principles. Get them integrated in everything you do, even in internal communication. Thank you very much, and see you soon.